We've got something really cool to explore today. It's all about body language.
Definitely a fascinating topic.
It really is. We've got Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, Your Body Language May Shape Who You Are, to unpack today.
Oh, that's a good one. A lot to dig into there.
It really gets you thinking, right? Like, it's not just about how we use body language to talk to other people, but also how it speaks to us. Like it's having this whole other conversation with our own brains.
It's so true. What always gets me about this topic is how it connects psychology to our everyday life. I mean, think about it. We've all felt the energy of a good handshake, or how a genuine smile can totally change the vibe, right?
Totally.
And what Cuddy does is she helps us understand, like, the actual science behind those gut feelings.
Exactly. Like, okay, we get it. First impressions matter. But Cuddy's work shows just how much those split-second judgments, the ones we make without even realizing it, can have some pretty wild consequences.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, get this. Did you know that you can actually predict the likelihood of a doctor being sued just based on their body language?
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, the really interesting thing is it's not just about how competent the doctor seems. It's way more nuanced than that. It's about whether they project warmth, trustworthiness, that feeling of actually connecting with the patient. Those things matter a lot.
Wow, you're serious.
Yeah. Cuddy actually talked about this research where people watched these short video clips of doctors interacting with patients, and the catch was the clicks were silent. So all they had to go on was body language, right?
Oh, wow. Okay, so just how they were moving and stuff.
Exactly. And get this, just from that, viewers could predict with crazy accuracy which doctors were more likely to get hit with lawsuits later on. It's pretty amazing how much those nonverbal signals influence us, even subconsciously.
That is wild. So basically what you're saying is our brains are hardwired to pick up on this stuff, even if we don't even realize it.
Exactly. Which is kind of amazing when you think about how we can use this to our advantage. That's where the whole idea of power posing comes in, which Cuddy talks about. Have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah. Power posing. Right. For anyone who hasn't seen the TED Talk, it's basically striking a pose, like Wonder Woman, hands on her hips, that kind of thing, even if you're not feeling super confident at that moment. But wait, are you telling me that just holding a pose like that for a few minutes can actually change how our brains work?
That's exactly what Cuddy found. Those power poses, even for just a short time, can actually impact our hormones, specifically testosterone and cortisol.
Okay, so hold on. Back up a sec. We're talking about hormones now.
Yeah. Testosterone, it's often linked to confidence and assertiveness, and that tends to increase while cortisol, which is the stress hormone, actually goes down.
So, it's giving your brain a boost of confidence and chilling it out at the same time. That's kind of amazing. But what's going on in our brains to make that happen? What are those hormones actually doing?
Okay, so basically, it all comes down to this connection between our bodies and our minds, right? It's like they're in constant communication. So testosterone, sometimes people call it the leadership hormone, which sounds kind of funny, but
I've heard that.
yeah, and it's not just about physical strength or anything. It's connected to things like how assertive we are, whether we're willing to take risks, even our ability to think outside the box, all that good stuff.
So more testosterone equals more confidence, more courage to actually go for it. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And then there's cortisol, which is the stress hormone, right? Like when we're stressed out, our bodies release cortisol. It's that whole fight or flight thing kicking in. And don't get me wrong, it has its purpose, but when we have too much of it, it can totally wreck our confidence and make it hard to even, think straight. Ever notice that?
100%. Like when you're about to give a presentation and your brain just goes blank.
Yes, exactly. That's cortisol doing its thing. But the cool thing is, by doing these power poses, we're kind of like hacking our own system, right? We're giving our brains a way to feel more confident and less stressed, all by just shifting our posture.
Okay, that is pretty cool. So are you suggesting that, if I'm about to go into a big meeting, I should just strike a pose in the middle of the room?
Haha, no, not exactly. Cuddy actually talks about this. It's not about posing during the stressful situation. It's more like you use these poses beforehand, almost like a little ritual to get yourself in the right headspace.
I see. Okay, so more like a pregame ritual for your brain.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay, so find a quiet bathroom stall, do your best Wonder Woman pose for a few minutes, and then head into the meeting like a boss.
You got it. And the best part is, there's actual research to back this up. Cuddy talks about this study where they had people do mock job interviews, which talk about nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah, the worst.
Right.
Oh.
So they had some people hold high-power poses beforehand and others hold low-power poses, just to see if it made a difference.
Okay, you're killing me. What happened? Spill the tea.
Yeah.
So the people who did the power poses, they actually did better.
Way better. The interviewers consistently rated them as more impressive, more confident, more hireable overall. And here's the thing. It wasn't that their answers were magically better or anything.
Right,
It
right.
was all about their presence, the confidence they projected, just in how they carried themselves. It's amazing how these little tweaks can make such a big difference, you know?
Seriously. You know what this whole conversation makes me think about? Imposter syndrome. Like that feeling of not being good enough, even when you're successful. Did Cuddy talk about that at all in her TED Talk?
She did. And it was actually really personal. She talked about how she struggled with imposter syndrome herself after a traumatic brain injury she had as a young adult.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it actually affected her IQ significantly, which was really tough because she'd always kind of identified as smart,
Yeah.
so it was a huge blow to her confidence.
I can only imagine to have that part of your identity challenged like that. It's something I think a lot of people can relate to, even without going through something that intense. So, how did she deal with those feelings of not being good enough?
Well, she talked about her mentor at the time, Susan Fisk, who gave her this advice that really stuck with her. She said, fake it till you become it. Basically, just keep showing up, keep putting yourself out there, even when you feel terrified or totally in over your head.
Fake it till you become it. I like that.
Right. And eventually what happens is that feeling of belonging, of confidence, it starts to become more natural, more who you are.
It's like you're retraining your brain, which
Mhm.
again brings us back to body language. Like we can use our bodies to change our minds.
Totally. And Cuddy actually used this same fake it till you become it advice with one of her own students who's super bright, but incredibly shy, like
Mhm.
hadn't said a word in class all semester.
Oh no, poor thing.
Right. So anyway, this student had to give a big presentation, and Cuddy basically told her to try power posing beforehand, just to see what happened.
Okay, drum roll please. Did it work?
It totally did.
Yeah.
This student, who had been terrified to even speak up in class, ended up giving this incredible presentation, just blew everyone away, including herself.
Get out! No way!
It's true. She tapped into this confidence she didn't even know she had. And that's what Cuddy wants us to understand. It's not about being fake or inauthentic. It's about using our body language to help us unlock those qualities we want to embody, to become our best selves.
I love that. So, what have we learned today? It seems like we might have a lot more control over our confidence, our stress levels, even our own success than we realize. It's like having a superpower we didn't even know about.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, what other subtle cues are we sending ourselves? What are we picking up on from others without even realizing it? It's pretty mind-blowing.
It totally is. And that's something I think we can all benefit from paying more attention to. So, what small tweaks can you make in your own life to harness this power of body language? Something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep that Wonder Woman pose handy.